It's rare anyone would ever see this many deer in one place in the wild. But this isn't the wild. It is Hart Bar Deer Farm, the first of its kind in Texas. Scott Petty Jr. and his family started Hart Bar in 1988 near Yancey, Texas, about 50 miles southwest of San Antonio. It's now positioned at the cutting edge of today's burgeoning deer farming industry. Deer farming is much like raising any domestic livestock. As with cattle or sheep, the goal is to achieve maximum production of quality meat and breeding animals at a profit. Deer farming isn't a new idea. It's been done for 4,000 to 5,000 years. Today, thousands of farmers in Europe, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand make their living farming deer. In fact, 80% of all venison on the U.S. market today comes from New Zealand. In the United States, the potential is virtually unlimited for deer farmers. Demand far exceeds supply, and farm venison provides everything today's health-conscious consumer wants in a red meat. It's nutritious, low in fat and calories, tender, and best of all, it's delicious. Deer farmers are realizing that this is an economical venture. As little as 30 acres can support a deer farming operation. Although Hart Bar is a large-scale operation, many successful deer farmers run profitable farms by modifying existing facilities and fencing at a relatively low cost.
We think it's going to be considerably better than cattle. We can run eight of these deer where we run one cow.
Of the various exotic breeds available for farming, Hart Bar Deer Farms has chosen fallow deer. Fallow deer are primarily grazers rather than browsers, which is important as a good grass and forb supply is much more reliable. They are gentle deer with strong herding instincts and are disease and parasite resistant. Fallow deer have a set breeding and fawning season. They produce one offspring a year and will not cross with other deer species. This also allows for better herd management and pasture rotation. They have a long breeding life, about 15 years, and fallow deer are tolerant of hot summers and cold winters. These deer provide top-quality venison, which is in high demand by the country's premier chefs. Fallow deer come in a variety of colors and stand about 3 feet tall at maturity, with does weighing around 100 pounds and bucks weighing up to 240 pounds. Hart Bar Deer Farms raises a herd of about 3,000 fallow deer on 440 acres, of which 310 are irrigated by 4 center pivots. Special gates had to be built to allow the pivot wheels to travel between the pastures. All animals graze on annual crops like hybrid sorghum, cowpeas, and klein grass in the summer, and wheat, oats, clover, and ryegrass in the winter. Supplemental protein, energy, and minerals are fed as needed. During summer months, Hart Bar Deer Farms puts out wooden pallets to shelter newborn fawns, since most of the pastures offer limited protection from the hot summer sun. One of the most expensive startup costs of deer farming is construction of fencing. Hart Bar's property is surrounded by an 8-foot deer-proof fence, and threatening predators are deterred by a 2-foot net wire apron buried beneath the surface. Wire mesh interior fences stand 5 foot 6 inches to 6 feet tall. Hart Bar Deer Farms has state-of-the-art facilities, including a deer working barn with a catwalk so visitors can view the handling of animals below. The farm also features a unique deer handling cradle and special pasture and laneway designs. During roundups in spring and the fall, the deer are herded through lanes to the working barn, where they are held in a series of pens. After calming down in a dark room, one at a time, the deer follow a light to the end of the tunnel toward the deer cradle. Once in the cradle, the floor drops out from below, leaving the deer immobilized. The deer are weighed, and then the side doors are opened, allowing access to the animal. From this point, a veterinarian can perform brucellosis and tuberculosis testing, and then oversee a standard vaccination schedule. Hart Bar Deer Farms markets the deer cradle to deer farmers all across North America. Fallow deer give birth to one offspring a year with a gestation period of approximately 234 days. In the fall, the fawns are weaned and counted, and the does are wet-dry tested to determine if they raised a fawn that year. The adult deer are then divided into breeding pastures. Generally, one buck can service about 20 does. Hart Bar Deer Farms also uses single sire mating with their best bucks and does to ensure the production of superior fawns. In late winter, the fawns are weighed, vaccinated, ear-tagged, and tattooed. Whenever the deer are worked, every piece of data from weight to reproductive performance is carefully recorded and later stored on a computer. Hart Bar Deer Farm's breeding program also includes the use of artificial insemination to develop one deer herd with world-class antlers and another with larger slaughter animals at a younger age. Large antlered animals are produced with semen from Danish, Hungarian, and European fallow deer. Larger-bodied animals are produced with Mesopotamian fallow deer semen. Here, the insemination process is performed by Dr. Jeff Asher from New Zealand. A group of students and veterinarians from Texas A&M assists him. The procedure is quick and simple. The doe is first tranquilized and then placed on a specially designed trolley. Her abdomen is shaved and sterilized. 2 needles are then inserted into the abdomen.
These are the trocars. This trocar here takes the laparoscope. And this trocar takes the insemination pipette. Laparoscope, which is a fibre optic tube with a cold light. And with that, I can actually visualize the whole reproductive tract.
Using the laparoscope, Dr. Asher can inject the semen directly into the uterine horns. Artificial insemination is only an alternative and is not intended to replace the natural breeding process. However, it can allow semen to be collected from a genetically superior buck and frozen until ready for use. This eliminates the farmer's need to actually buy or transport the superior buck. It can also ensure the preservation of endangered species. After insemination, the doe is given a reversal injection and antibiotics and is on her feet again in minutes. After about 50 days, a sonogram is performed on the doe to determine the success of the procedure, which averages about a 70% fawn crop as compared to 85 to 90% through the natural breeding process. Antler control is another concern of deer farmers. To avoid the aggressive bucks injuring other deer or humans, their antlers are removed in either the velvet or hard antler stage. This is done by a veterinarian. First, the bucks are secured in a special cradle designed to accommodate the large sets of antlers. After a local anesthetic and tourniquets are applied, the antlers are sawed off. The animals are kept in the pens for observation for a few minutes and finally released to the pastures. Few fallow deer farms have enough bucks to make marketing deer velvet worthwhile, but Hart Bar occasionally donates some harvested velvet to cancer research projects. Hart Bar Deer Farms harvests its male deer at approximately 12 to 24 months of age. Deer of this age produce a 55 to 75-pound carcass.
Demand for venison's increased as people become aware of, first of all, how good it is, and secondly, the nutritional benefits. Right now, the restaurants are the ones responsible for building people's interest, but as that's happening, consumers are becoming more interested as well.
The venison is sold primarily to restaurants under its own Hart Bar label. Breeding animals are sold to other farmers and to game ranches. The increased interest in deer farming in this country is evidenced by the growth of the North American Deer Farmers Association. In addition to holding an annual meeting, the organization is a valuable resource for the deer farmer. The outlook for the deer farm industry is bright. Deer farming, whether done on a small or large scale, is economical and profitable. The demand for quality venison is high. In fact, if every American ate only 1 pound of venison a year, as they do in Germany, it would take 4.5 million deer to fill the demand. There aren't that many farmed deer in the world today. Hart Bar Deer Farms is excited about this industry, and in addition to marketing live deer, venison, and its deer cradle, the company consults with other farmers on all aspects of deer farming. Hart Bar also holds periodic seminars and conducts tours of its facilities for those contemplating a move into this growing business. To learn more about deer farming and Hart Bar Deer Farms, call 512-225-6571.